All right, today we're jumping into a classic Sherlock Holmes mystery. One that kicks off with what looks like simple vandalism, but quickly spirals into this high-stakes hunt for one of history's most legendary jewels. Oh, and it involves murder and the Mafia along the way.
So let's start with the question that's at the heart of it all. Why on earth would someone risk jail time just to break into houses and shops, not to steal anything valuable, but only to find and shatter these cheap plaster busts of Napoleon? It sounds completely bonkers, right? The work of a madman. But as you're about to see, there's a brilliant, cold logic behind this very strange obsession.
The mystery begins, as so many of them do, with a visit to 221B Baker Street from a completely baffled Inspector Lestrade of Scotland Yard. He's got a case he thinks is more weird than it is serious.
So the whole spree starts small. A bust is stolen from a shop and smashed to bits. Then two more, both belonging to the same doctor, are destroyed in two separate break-ins. To Inspector Lestrade, the answer is a slam dunk. They're dealing with a monomaniac, someone with this crazy, irrational hatred for Napoleon. Case closed, right? Well, not for Holmes.
And this is where Holmes's brain just operates on a totally different level. He zeroes in on this one tiny detail that Lestrade just breezes right past. The busts aren't just of Napoleon, they are identical copies from the exact same mold. For Holmes, that kind of repetition isn't a sign of madness, it's the signature of a hidden, perfectly rational motive.
Just as Holmes starts to suspect there's way more going on here, the case takes a dramatic and deadly turn. What started out as just a weird little curiosity is about to become a full-blown murder investigation.
Yeah, the scene over at the journalist Horace Harker's house. That's where this whole thing goes from weird to deadly. His Napoleon bust is stolen and smashed, of course, but this time there's a body left on the doorstep. The victim, a man named Pietro Vannucci, a known mafioso. And get this, in his pocket they find a photograph of some guy named Beppo. All of a sudden, a madman's hobby is tangled up with organized crime.
This is really the intellectual heart of the story. It's this clash between two ways of seeing the world, one that sees random chaos and another that is relentlessly searching for a hidden pattern. It's Lestrade versus Holmes.
You've got Lestrade over here thinking, okay, two different things happened. We've got a crazy vandal and we've got a gangland murder. Total coincidence. But Holmes, no way. He is absolutely convinced they are two parts of the exact same puzzle. He believes the man smashing the statues and the murderer are one and the same person, driven by a single, incredibly powerful motive.
This quote, this perfectly sums up Holmes's entire philosophy. He works on the belief that the universe isn't just chaotic. If a really bizarre action is repeated over and over, systematically, there has to be a reason. His entire investigation is now laser-focused on finding that one reason.
So how does he do it? Well, this is pure Holmes. He doesn't go chasing shadows. Nope. He basically does supply chain logistics. He starts at the source, Gelder and Company, and finds out they only made a batch of 6 of these specific busts. From there, he tracks them to the stores that sold them, and then, finally, to the 6 people who bought them. He has literally created a treasure map for the culprit's next move.
So now, with this map in hand, Holmes isn't just reacting to crimes anymore. He's getting ahead of them. He knows exactly where the smasher is going to go next, and the stage is set for a pretty dramatic confrontation.
Armed with his list of buyers, Holmes figures out the location of the 5th bust. He, Watson, and a very skeptical Lestrade stake out the house in Chiswick, just waiting for their man to walk right into their trap.
And just like he predicted, the guy from the photo, Beppo, shows up. He breaks in, snags the bust, runs outside, and just starts smashing it under a streetlight, frantically digging through the pieces. Of course, they pounce on him and arrest him. But here's the kicker. They look through the fragments, and there's nothing there. The prize isn't in this one.
The logic now is just inescapable. 5 busts have been found and smashed. Whatever Beppo is looking for has to be inside the 6th and final one. So Holmes tracks down the owner and, with a bit of a dramatic flair, buys the very last statue for a crisp 10-pound note.
The final scene. It's all set up back at Baker Street. Lestrade, who is still thinking this is all about some nutcase, is just watching on, kind of amused. Holmes places that final, unassuming plaster bust on the table, and with a little smile, he picks up his hunting crop for the grand finale.
He strikes the bust, and it shatters. And there, nestled among all those white plaster fragments, is a single dark object. It's not a clue, it's not a secret message, it's the thing itself, the legendary, priceless, and long-lost black pearl of the Borgias.
And just like that, the whole story clicks into place. See, Beppo worked at the factory. He stole the pearl, but the cops were hot on his tail. He had to hide it, and fast, so he shoved it into a bust that was still wet plaster. Then, boom, he gets arrested for a totally separate stabbing and is thrown in jail for a year. So when he gets out, he starts this desperate, frantic hunt to get his treasure back, having no idea which of the 6 busts actually holds the pearl. And the man he murdered, Vannucci, a rival who was also hunting for it? With the case solved and the pearl recovered, the story moves to its really powerful conclusion, which, believe it or not, isn't about the jewel at all. It's about a moment of pure, earned respect.
All the loose ends get tied up neatly. The pearl is returned to its rightful owner, and Beppo, the guy they thought was just a madman, is now going to face the gallows. Not for breaking statues, but for the murder of Pietro Vannucci.
And this right here, this is the real payoff. Inspector Lestrade, who's so often Holmes's rival, is just floored. He drops the act, all that professional jealousy just melts away, and he gives Holmes this incredible, heartfelt tribute, admitting that all of Scotland Yard is proud of him. He just watched Holmes turn what looked like a lunatic's obsession into the solution to a murder and the recovery of a priceless gem.
As Watson points out, for a man like Sherlock Holmes, who really didn't care about fame or fortune, this genuine, sincere praise from a fellow professional, a man he often outsmarted, was the greatest reward he could ever possibly receive. It was total validation of his mind and his method. Which really leaves us with one final thought, doesn't it? This whole story is a masterclass in finding the logical thread hidden inside what looks like total chaos. And it kind of makes you wonder, what other seemingly random events happening all around us might actually have a perfectly logical grand design behind them, if only we knew how to look. Thanks for joining me.